Hi, mystery writers. Welcome to the Mystery Writing Studio. I'm Zara Altair, and today I want to talk about something important that a lot of people don't think about, and that is the look of your story, how it feels. So, this is not um, your cover per se. This is the inside of the book, oh, and things you can do to make it more appealing to your readers. So, um, you want to plunge your reader into the story and keep them there. And you hear a lot about cover design and blurbs to inspire readers to buy your book. But one element of reader engagement that is really often overlooked is how easy the book is to read. And that makes a big difference in reader engagement. So, book formatters are well aware that the design on the page influences a reader's response to a book. And if you look at, for instance, Amazon's Look Inside feature, it focuses on how the first pages of your story hook the reader in because they want to read more. And that has to do with the design as well. It's how they respond to the actual page of your book. Um, and then when your reader will read about your book, genre readers like mystery lovers like a great puzzle inside an easy read. And improving your craft will help you um, define just what they want. But the two main ways to deliver craft that keeps readers satisfied are readability and paragraph length. So now we're just going to talk about formatting your content, as it were, to keep your readers engaged and make it as easy for them to read as possible. So, readability is a term for how easy your text is to read. And it deals with complexity, it deals with syntax and spelling and grammar and other technical issues. But all of them come into play for readability. It has nothing to do with the plot or character development. It measures the ease of reading, and you want that for your readers. And although your novel may deal with complex issues or subject matter, you want to present them in a manner that is accessible to your reader. So long involved sentences can slow down reading, or long words or unfamiliar vocabulary that sends readers to the dictionary also impacts readability. That doesn't mean all your sentences should be short or you should never use an unusual word because they just come into our stories. But with longer sentences, make sure you follow good grammar to make the sentence flow in the reader's mind. And the meaning of unusual words can be implied from their context in the sentence or in the paragraph. So you want to make sure that unusual word is making sense in your story without them having to go away to look it up. All right. All right. So there are a number of readability calculators, and two of the most common are the Flesch-Kinkaid Reading Ease Score, which grades text on a scale of 0 to 100. It looks at the average length of sentences and the average number of syllables per word. All right. So a score between, this is what you want to know when you test for your text. A score between 70 and 90 works well for the mystery genre. So 90 to 100 is very easy to read and easily understood. Um, say an average 11-year-old could read it. So 80 to 90 is easy to read. 70 to 80 is fairly easy to read. So that's why 70 to 90 is a good gauge for your readers. Remember, we want to make it easy to read. We're writing genre fiction. We want it easy to read. We want them to focus on the puzzle, not our elaborate syntax. All right. So, popular novels like mysteries do the best with an average seventh grade level. So that's another way that you can measure it, is by the grade level. All right. So the point of evaluating the readability of your manuscript is to assure its clarity. That's what you want. You just don't want your readers to stumble on your syntax or your overwhelming vocabulary. You want your readers to understand what you say so they can relate to your story. We're storytellers. That's our job. That's our main job. We want them to get involved in the story. Okay. There's also the free Hemingway Editor, which gives you a Flesch-Kinkaid store, and Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid also examine your text for readability. So there are just a number of ways that you can check the readability of your text in your story. So when you use a readability tool, you want an overall sense of your manuscript. Remember, dialogue's definitely going to fall outside of the norm with characters who talk in run-on sentences or bombast. They're just not going to go. And I know, like a tool like Pro Writing Aid, you can tag things to say ignore dialogue. And you don't want to be ruled by readability scores either. This is just a check, all right? If you use readability as a crutch to alter your language, you can dull your message and restrict the language that you use. So be yourself, be creative. Just check to make sure that you're falling within the general guidelines, usability guidelines for genre readers, which is once again 70 to 90 or in the Flesch-Kinkaid or 7th grade reading level. All right. So you keep your reader engaged with the character while still creating atmospheric setting. For instance, Michael Connelly often uses long drives from the Coastal 101 to the 10 across town to the 405, excuse me, as a musing time for Harry Bosch. So, whether the mist is on the moors or the smog blankets the city, you want to keep your paragraph short. This is the other part of keeping your novel readable. You want to have short paragraphs. It's like, actually in neuroscience, when you break things down into small chunks, it's easier for people who are reading to remember those small chunks as opposed to a long paragraph with a lot of information. So breaking up your paragraphs and keeping them short is another way that you can help your readers get into your story. So if you're writing a long description, do what Joseph Conrad and Jane Harper do. Break up the long description into those shorter paragraphs and then add an emotional tie to the character at the end of the paragraph. Joseph Conrad was just a master of this. And you'll keep your reader engaged with the character while still creating that empathy. So another thing is, if a character is giving a long speech, you can break up that dialogue with a bit of action or description. You can describe what other people who are listening to that character are doing and then continue on with what they're saying. But the whole idea is to break up those long sections into shorter little chunks that make it a lot more accessible, I guess is the right word, for your reader. So you want to craft that great reader experience along with telling your good story. And these are two ways that you can connect your reader with simple, making sure that the language is clear and easy for them to read, and also by just on the page making sure the paragraphs are short and easily read. So that's actually what I wanted to talk about today. Um, and uh, thank you. I just had a technical note. Anyway, sorry to be distracted. So make sure you do those two things in your editing process. Once you have your editing pretty much down, you want to check for your readability, and you also want to just look at the page and see how your paragraphs are, and give them that nice white space and the ability to go along with your shorter paragraphs. I hope that helps. All right, thank you very much for being here today in the Mystery Writer Studio. And as always, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'm happy to answer questions. And I will see you next week in the Mystery Writer Studio.